This is going to be the toughest fight of his career.
Shut up, relax.
The most embarrassing fight of his career.
Chair across your face.
Yeah, I think he's about to cry.
I'm definitely up for fighting. There's a lot of names in the division, for sure. But at the same time, look at what this creates as well. I'm a fighter and I understand that economics of business as well. And this does good business.
Are you really going to do this? Absolutely. Are we going to do this? For a record payday? To go in and spark Jake Paul before we start the serious stuff in 2026? Don't tell me what we should and what we shouldn't be.
Anthony Joshua has issued a cold, hard warning to Jake Paul, and this time, it's far from simple trash talk. While Paul may be treating this fight as his biggest cash grab yet, Joshua's team is making it clear just how dangerously one-sided this matchup could become. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, didn't sugarcoat anything, urging Paul to recognize the real risks involved and hinting that even a single AJ punch could have brutal consequences. Adding to the heat, former pro Moses Adama also stepped in, cautioning Paul that sharing a ring with Joshua could come with very real and serious.
Anthony Joshua should not get in the way of Fury and Joshua. Really, in my view, it's an absolute joke. It shouldn't be sanctioned. I really don't believe it should be sanctioned. I have a sneaking suspicion that it would be a very big fight. But the biggest thing is us rubbernecking to actually see if they do get to the point where they step in the ring together. Because Jake Paul's an area level fighter, a British area level fighter, and Anthony Joshua is still a killer and a live heavyweight. That should not be sanctioned anywhere in the world, in my view.
It's dangerous, mate.
Very dangerous.
It brings the sport into disrepute. The people that are talking about organising that, they should have a real hard look at themselves.
But even Eddie Hearn's kind of teasing he doesn't like it, but you can see the glimpse of dollars.
There's no price. There is no price.
There shouldn't be.
There's absolutely no price on the planet in order to make.
Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua isn't just a bold gamble. Many experts argue it's a serious threat to his safety. Boxing insiders like Ariel Helwani have cautioned that Joshua's sheer power and elite-level experience could put Paul in real danger, pointing to AJ's history of devastating knockouts as a
has been beaten 3 times. The 4 fighters that he beat didn't come to win. So he's not in his prime, is he? He's literally at the end of his career, pretty much finished. And this is why taking this fight with you is telling you all you need to know. It's a cash out. You might as well just cream as much money as he can at the end of his career, fighting an absolute joke show in clown world. When I beat Anthony Joshua, he says, every doubt disappears. Come on. I mean, if this is a straight up AJ versus Jake Paul, then we all know what should happen. This is a 1-round job because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury, for crying out loud. You can't jump in with Anthony Joshua now and expect to get a result. So, like, nothing's going to no doubt's going to disappear. All that's going to happen.
Rising heavyweight Moses even advised Paul to prioritize his well-being over the paycheck, cautioning that a single clean shot could leave lasting damage. At the same time, former champion Amir Khan didn't sugarcoat anything, stating outright that Joshua could seriously injure him, even suggesting the possibility of
Joshua sparked him out in like 2 rounds. Really? Yeah, why do you look surprised when I don't?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Come on, bro, you're fighting like one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world against a YouTuber. Like, come on. Like, respect the sport of boxing. And if AJ has to go in there and show these influencers that, listen, you can't fuck about with boxing. You know what I mean? Someone's gonna get hurt badly, and this could be one of the first fights where a fighter gets hurt badly, because if you look at the size difference and the power difference, I mean, bro, there could be brain damages going on there. AJ could hurt him badly, you know.
Well, when you look at Francis Ngannou, who's one of the most fearsome combat styles there is. I know it's MMA, but we saw what AJ did to Ngannou. So,
and that's why you can't be surprised if AJ is going to do the same to what's it called again? What?
For AJ, this showdown is far bigger than just a payday. He's carrying the weight of proving his legacy is still intact. Analysts like Johnny Nelson argue that Joshua is trapped in a no-win scenario. If he doesn't dominate or ends up going rounds with Jake Paul, critics will say he's become more of a brand than a...
I do believe it because AJ is involved, and I think AJ would struggle to he's going to take enough slack flack over this, but again, it's money talk. So I think AJ will struggle because it's an Owen situation. If he goes in there and Jake Paul lasted the distance, what do you tell you about AJ? Apart from he's just earned an extra 50 million quid. If he goes there and struggles with Jake Paul, then what do you say about AJ? Your heydays are well and truly over. If he goes in there and knocks him out, then I'll say that's to be expected. So the glory, there's probably not much glory in it, apart from the haters of Jake Paul to say, right, I've got rid of this kid. I think it's very brave of Jake Paul. So now the problem child has got to believe this fight's actually happening. So now you've got our attention. So now you've got to back up the boast. It's not about, you're not playing tiddlywink. This is the only game you can't play. You can play football, golf, tennis.
Nelson has delivered a sharp and unapologetic assessment of Jake Paul's place in the sport. While he acknowledges Paul as a marketing genius who's masterfully built his brand, he refuses to accept the notion that Paul is anywhere near world-class. In Nelson's view, Paul is a solid domestic-level fighter whose earnings resemble those of a world champion, despite never grinding through the traditional boxing system. He stresses that Paul didn't grow up in gyms or fight his way through the amateur and professional circuits, he built his fame online. And although Paul has turned that popularity into big boxing paydays, Nelson remains unconvinced that he belongs anywhere close to the elite, high-skilled
Daniel Dubois. He's going to be 35 years of age. It's crazy what I'm about to ask you, but can Jake Paul really beat Anthony Joshua?
All right, listen, I give all credit. Everyone knows that. They get mad at me that I gave too much credit to Paul. Why? He's done a hell of a job to put himself in this position. He sold himself. He sold his dream. He took his dream. He took his idea. He put it out there, and he made it happen. Give him credit for that. And he made it happen. And he took risk along the way. Yeah, he picked his spots. He's in the driver's seat. He gets to pick his spots. He's the one bringing the money. He's the one promoting. Yeah, he's the name. He made himself that, coming from where he came from, with all his followers and the whole thing, and just the uniqueness of what he was doing. But he has learned along the way. He's not a top guy yet. No, I don't know that he ever will be. He didn't have that amateur background and the things that you usually need to be a top guy. But he has improved. He is a work in progress. He is a guy that you got to give him credit that he's respected the sport. He went out.
Former champion Carl Froch shares a similar sentiment, insisting that taking a fight with Jake Paul could actually damage Joshua's reputation and signal that he's drifting away from true Hall of Fame status. At the same time, Joshua has repeatedly emphasized that his long-term well-being matters more than anything else. As he put it, his real legacy would be simply making sure I walk.
The Bunsen burner's lit, like I've said. He's cashing out. And fair play to him, he's cashing out. But to what detriment to his legacy? A lot, really. Because if this is going to be his last fight, fighting this clown show, I mean, it's not ideal, is it? It's no ideal way to go out. But people would argue, well, he's just taking the money and running. So you can't really argue with that. So that's it for another episode of Froch on Fighting. I had to get my opinion out there because I know you've all been waiting for it. It's a shame, really. I'd like to see Anthony Joshua, actually, even though I don't believe he can do it. But when Eddie Hearn tells us that AJ is going to become a 3-time world champ, it'd be nice to see the rebuilding process and get back behind him. 1 or 2 easy fights and then go for a world title. And this could be one of the 2 easy fights. But I just think if you're going to jump in with fake Paul at this level, which is like I say, arguably a massive mismatch, it's no way to step towards or climb a ladder to get towards that world title. So this, for me, tells me that Anthony Joshua knows he's finished at any sort of elite level or world level. He won't be trying to go down the world title level anymore. This is just a cash out. So good luck to him, fair play to him, but hopefully when he's finished this fight, he'll be honest with us and say, listen, I've milked it, I've creamed it, I've had an unbelievable touch at the end of my career. I mean, he's already had an outrageous touch, hasn't he, with the involvement of Saudi Arabia, and now he's just creaming it at the end. He's got fake Paul, which is massive. Great for AJ, fair play to him. Anybody would do the same at the end of the career he's had. You know, he's not an elite heavyweight, is he? He's never going to come back and...
However, Jake Paul remains adamant that he can defeat Anthony Joshua, citing what he views as glaring weaknesses in Joshua's recent outings. Speaking on his podcast, Paul didn't hold back, claiming Joshua doesn't have a chin, lacks real skill, and fights too stiff. He pointed to Joshua's knockout loss against Daniel Dubois as proof that AJ's durability is fading, making this the ideal time to take him on. In Paul's eyes, his unconventional style, growing confidence, and current momentum give him a legitimate chance in a matchup most consider an.
Why is Jake Paul doing this? Well, I think it's because he genuinely believes there is a chance he can win this. I think he's calculated everything about Anthony Joshua's circumstances and he's gone, yeah, I actually think I can do this. I can leapfrog so many years of having to build and go through the ranks and do all that stuff by beating a shop-worn Anthony Joshua. And what are the factors in Jake Paul believing this? Well, it would be firstly that AJ received a loss in his most recent fight. Anthony Joshua's not been in the ring since September 2024, so over a year by the time him and Jake Paul get in the ring together. It will have been around 15 months. It was the manner of Joshua's loss where he looked terrible. He looked like a fighter that was well past his best. His timing wasn't there. He even looked a little bit chinny, dare I say. I mean, I still think he's got a good chin. The shot he took from Dubois was absolutely massive and would have knocked down many heavyweights. And he showed decent powers of recovery to get up and struggle through for as long as he did before his over-aggression and miscalculation with the type of shots he was using got him knocked out by Dubois. But if you're deluded enough like Jake Paul, then perhaps you look at that and go, he landed a massive right hand on Joshua's chin. Why can't I do the same? I believe myself to be a very big puncher. And it's that old saying, isn't it? You know, you shoot for the stars, you might at least land on the moon. And I think that's kind of why Jake Paul's maybe got to where he is in life, because he does have too much self-confidence. He does believe in himself.
Jake Paul insists this fight is his opportunity to silence every critic who has ever claimed he only targets smaller or past their prime opponents. He argues that by stepping in with Anthony Joshua, a genuine heavyweight and former unified world champion, he's finally showing the world he's willing to take on elite competition. According to Paul, once he beats Joshua, every criticism vanishes. In his words, asterisk, when I beat AJ, all the doubt is gone. No one can deny me.
Fight a real boxer. They said, fight someone your size. They said, fight a world champion. We looked at a long list of supposed...
Teddy Atlas has offered a cautiously intrigued perspective on the potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown. While he warns that the fight might be a major leap beyond Paul's level, given the massive gap in experience, skill, and physicality, he doesn't completely write it off. Atlas points to Joshua's recent knockout loss and extended time away from the ring, hinting that AJ may still be dealing with some ghosts in the attic that could make him vulnerable. And even though he acknowledges that Joshua is clearly the stronger puncher and far more technically polished, Atlas says he's still willing to take that step just to see which version of Anthony Joshua shows.
Having said all of that, this might be a step too far. Now, when I say it, I'm also... I try to be responsible. I've been in this game 50 years, so I know where not to step, where you could twist an ankle, or worse, you could break a leg or fall down. When I say that with the understanding, too, that Joshua's coming off being knocked out. Joshua hasn't fought for a year, right? But it's about a year. And there's some ghost in his attic. There are. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's gotten rid of some of them, but I know that in the position of a fighter coming where he's coming from, there are ghosts in your attic. I don't know if those ghosts are still taking up space. I don't know if maybe there could be no better exorcism for those ghosts than fighting a Jake Paul. That might be just the exorcism you need to clear out the attic. I don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. That's the mystery part of this. That's what makes it so... It makes it two things at once. Intriguing and...
Atlas believes that Jake Paul will never reach true top-tier boxing status, even though he respects Paul's hustle and business instincts. He described Paul as a work in progress and gave him credit for taking the sport seriously rather than treating it like a spectacle. Still, Atlas doesn't envision Paul ever breaking into true world-class territory. In his view, Paul has built a niche for himself as a sharp self-promoter, someone who knows how to generate attention and big paydays. But when it comes to facing elite, high-level opponents, Atlas remains cautious, insisting Paul isn't the kind of fighter who can just walk in and beat anyone placed.
that does it for this week's recaps and previews. I want to throw one more thing at you, and that's the news. It's been out there for about a month or so, and it's picking up more steam. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. Now, Eddie Hearn came out this week most recently and said, I never thought I would say this, but right now the front runner for this fight is Jake Paul for Anthony Joshua's ring return. Joshua coming up almost on a year in September since his KO loss to Daniel Dubois. He's going to be 35 years of age. It's crazy what I'm about to ask you, but can Jake Paul really beat Anthony Joshua?
All right, listen, I give all credit. Everyone knows that. They get mad at me that I give too much credit to Paul. Why? He's done a hell of a job to put himself in this position. He sold himself. He sold his dream. He took his dream. He took his idea. And he put it out there, and he made it happen. Give him credit for that. And he made it happen. And he took risk along the way. Yeah, he picked his spots. He's in the driver's seat. He gets to pick his spots. He's the one bringing the money. He's the one promoting. Yeah, he's the name. He made himself that, coming from where he came from, with all his followers and the whole thing, and just the uniqueness of what he was doing. But he has learned along the way. He's not a top guy yet. No, I don't know that he ever will be. He didn't have that amateur background and the things that you usually need to be a top guy. But he has improved. He is a work in progress. He is a guy that you got to give him credit that he's respected the sport. He went out there.
Boxing commentator Ade Oladipo hasn't sugarcoated anything. If Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua truly meet in the ring, he believes Joshua ends it almost instantly, even predicting a knockout within the first 30 seconds. Though he credits Paul for having the guts to call out a far bigger and more experienced opponent, Oladipo still sees Joshua's power, timing, and pedigree as overwhelming advantages. Meanwhile, Jake Paul has stirred the pot again by dropping a staggering figure, claiming his potential showdown with Joshua could be worth around $267 million. While reports estimate that both fighters might earn roughly $92 million each, Paul's post has sparked speculation that the total revenue, factoring in pay-per-view buys, streaming rights, sponsorships, and international deals, could skyrocket beyond early projections. If true, this matchup wouldn't just be a high-stakes fight, it could become one of the richest events in
AJ versus Jake Paul. Jab.
AJ.
Defense.
AJ.
Chin.
AJ.
Footwork.
AJ.
Boxing IQ.
AJ.
Personality.
If Jake Paul loses badly to Anthony Joshua, it could deal a major blow to his marketability. Right now, Paul is one of the few crossover fighters who can consistently pull big pay-per-view numbers because of his massive online following. But a brutal defeat to a true heavyweight like AJ would give critics the perfect ammunition they've been waiting for. They would claim he isn't durable, isn't elite, and can't compete with real top-tier professionals. Even the celebrity fight appeal that built his career could take a serious hit. Casual viewers might stop watching if they start seeing him as nothing more than a YouTuber pretending to be a boxer. Even promoter Eddie Hearn has warned that such a loss could mark the downfall of Paul's boxing brand. In conclusion, the potential Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua showdown is much more than a promotional spectacle. It's a high-stakes risk on both sides. Paul views it as the fight that could finally solidify his legitimacy in the sport, but many warn he's stepping into extremely dangerous territory against a heavyweight with Joshua's power and pedigree. Experts caution that the size, strength, and experience gap could lead to serious health risks for Paul. Meanwhile, Joshua's motivation appears heavily financial, with promoters suggesting this could be his largest payday yet. However, one misstep could harm his reputation and legacy. While the fight promises enormous attention and massive revenue, many in the boxing world see it as a risky matchup driven more by money than
Really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like you put him in with someone his own size. It was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him. He's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. is at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally.
What do you think? Is Jake Paul playing with fire by taking on Anthony?